Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Brian if you're new around here, and if you happen to be a returning subscriber, welcome back, you legend. Smashing, gorgeous, downright sexy. That's what you get for subscribing, by the way. A little bit of awkward compliments at the start of these videos. Today we're going to dive into obviously a post. Now, one of the things I've been trying to do with these news posts is to give you guys the raw detail, the real information coming from the developers, especially as it relates to their posts and the future of this game. But I've heard your feedback, and so I'm going to TLDR it for those of you who just want to hang out. I'm going to get into the information, and then I'm going to share my opinion and more after we get through the post. But the TLDR is mini-maps are not coming to New World, but Overwolf is a API add-on that people are using, and there are some rules, some considerations that you need to know that you can actually use Overwolf, and we'll actually go and summarize that here for you. You can show player position. You can show folks in your group as they do on the compass. You can only show node placement when you've unlocked that node, and obviously via trade skills and things like that. And you can only show AI that is unlocked via the trade skills compass, like if you're hunting specific enemies. So they don't want to give any player like an added advantage of being able to kind of see in that 3-dimension. Now we'll go into why we want to go into kind of their full-on post here, and it's actually kind of lengthy, so buckle up and get comfortable. But overall, that's kind of what this post is going to be about. Guys, if you have any questions about the mini-map, about New World, feel free to ask me in the comments below. You can always subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys to those 24% of you legends who've already hit that subscribe button and come back for these daily videos. And also, I just posted a huge update over on Fat Dad Fit Dad. It's my personal vlog journey through weight loss. I'll have a link in the description of this video if you're curious and you want to check out that exciting news. But let's go ahead and actually dive into the core of this post. First and foremost, hello everyone. I'd like to take a moment of your time to address the minimap conversation that we've been having following the conversation on the forums, and believe we understand the reasons players want a minimap. Also, we are aware that there is a perception that if we implement a minimap, then players that don't want it can simply turn it off. But the reality is that players may feel at a disadvantage without it. Now, right now, we can create a mini-map, and it's not a high priority for us, as well as we have other items that we feel are more pressing. The high-level reasoning is that we have concerns that with it meshing with New World's action combat style and world design, that it would actually break immersion and may limit the drive for exploration, and that there are some technical limitations, and we feel that the compass fulfills the needs and fits the setting, promoting exploration and supports combat. Now, giving into some of the specifics, a big part of our combat is situational awareness, and the addition of a minimap may compromise this in a few ways. First, we are concerned that the eyes may be planted on minimaps as opposed to the play space. I'm guilty of that, hands down, every time. Ghost of Tsushima changed my view on interaction. Wait, guys, if you haven't played Ghosts, it is an absolute must-play game. Anyway, second, if there are any combat AI or player restrictions on the minimap, it could change how the game is played. Another concern is that players may play the minimap, or at least stare at it, as opposed to the game world, which would have a negative impact on immersion. Once implemented, the desire for more efficiency will likely drive to added gameplay elements like nodes, active and inactive, local wildlife, and players, and then the game could become more about efficiency and less about getting lost in Eternum. At the point we are playing the 2D game as opposed to this beautiful interactive world that they've created. Eternum is built with landmarks, roads, and vistas that drive exploration, not to mention key elements might be off the beaten path. If we had a minimap, we could change the open world behavior and potentially remove the nature of exploration that happens now in the game. On the technical side, you may wonder how a third party can quickly do this, and the dev team says that it's going to be more work. The reason is the dev team has a minimum spec that we have and we are committed to supporting that will require rendering the artwork to ensure that it is performant. Now, we will continue to follow the conversation and gather more information about and will periodically evaluate our position as we do on many decisions. All that being said, we have discussed the matter with Overwolf and have decided not to penalize minimap mods from this third party, provided they stick to the following rules. As a general rule, the minimap focuses exact rules of the compass, and it cannot give players an advantage in any type over the compass. Information to be used for display, even when the limitations expressed below must come from the Overwolf API, which they may add to over time, but can't commit to at the moment. So that's showing the player position, showing folks in the group as they do in the compass. Only show node placement if they are unlocked via the node trade skills, provided that it is within the range of the compass and would display them. Only show the AI that you've unlocked via trade skills as compass within the range of the compass. Show quests as they do on the compass. If in the future we may change our position on this and decide to add a minimap or change the position to allowing Overwolf, or change our position on allowing Overwolf. If we are to change, we would give plenty of notice along with a designated grace period where we could not ban players for continuing use, but would take action after that grace period has ended. At this time, we can confirm that we have not banned anyone for using the minimap mod from Overwolf. Thank you guys so much for your feedback. So there's a little bit of confusion in here. That's why I wanted to sit down and break it out. All right. That said, we have discussed the matter with Overwolf and have decided not to penalize minimap mods from this third party, provided they stick to the following rules. So these are the rules that we just kind of covered. So essentially, they are saying that they're not going to punish you for a minimap mod that from Overwolf, as long as they adhere to this. So if you're having an advantage or people are taking advantage of that, that does sound like it's going to be bannable or some kind of punishment is going to be laid out. So they're also leaving the door open in the future that they could add it. We'll talk about that more here in a minute. Anyway, if we change on our position on allowing Overwolf. So this wording right here, I think tends to say, I would say if you were a player and this has you concerned, I wouldn't use a minimap. Honestly, we'll talk more about it here just in a second, but from the basic side of it is that they are not going to penalize minimap mods from this third party, but they are currently also not allowing Overwolf. So just be very careful, especially as that API. Now, I have not used it or installed it, and that kind of really gets to me into kind of the core aspect of the game. And my impact is that I honestly originally thought I wanted a minimap, but the more I play the game, the more I realize I don't. In fact, actually, like I said, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy 11, there's been some real critical games that I look back and I find more immersive. And with a minimap, I find myself constantly drifting up into that 2D game as opposed to actually experiencing the world around me, to the point where I'm actually debating on if I should turn it off in Final Fantasy 14 as well, namely because of just how I end up drifting up into that idea, that corner, as opposed to really experiencing the world around me. So it's something I'm kind of playing around with. Maybe we'll do that together and experiment with a no mini map or like a minimal HUD kind of gameplay session within Final Fantasy 14. It's going to be interesting. We'll see here what I ultimately decide to do in terms of its execution. But guys, at the end of the day, I definitely would say don't use the third-party minimap. They're not looking like they're going to do it. You can always sound off below if you feel like the values that could be added, but they bring up some interesting points, especially as it relates to efficiency. When it comes to MMORPGs, like we see this in a lot of games, there's this sense that like there's this wondrous time in the game where everything's new and you're experiencing everything and it's exciting. And then eventually, in terms of like I know in theme park models, it does become about efficiency as opposed to joy. It does become about trying to min-max your way to getting to your goals, as opposed to like going out and, experiencing them in a different reasonable pace. We covered this yesterday with kind of the PTR data mine leaks in terms of what they're planning on bringing into the game, theoretically or in theory that those things are coming. And I think that's like a really exciting thing for the game. I think New World has a massive future ahead of it. I think essentially, overall the naysayers are starting to die down and kind of move on. There's always kind of these, these groups that are rooting against games, and I'm not going to blame them for it. Like, I don't understand it, in theory, but at its core, we're seeing Amazon roll out updates. We're seeing them fix, and we're also seeing them communicate. Communication is key. Content is king. And if you bring these things together, the fact that they're sitting down and kind of telling us their thoughts behind it, it helps remove the mystery, whether you agree with it or not. The fact is that they're actually communicating, gives us that ability to have that conversation with them, weigh in on that. Feel free to go weigh in on the official forums. You don't have to agree with me on the no minimap side of it. I just find New World to be very immersive. And if you added a minimap, even if you gave people the option, it does seem that, I would be losing out on efficiency over somebody who doesn't have it added. And it quickly then becomes and loses a lot of its charm in favor of kind of that human productivity mindset. And we're all guilty of that, if we're honest with ourselves. Anyway, guys, I wanted to give you guys this information. Let me know what you think. Sounds like Overwolf is a no, but it's not like there's none. So it's kind of like we've passed this law, we've said no, but we haven't funded the department to actually like do anything about it. So it's like it's kind of there on the books. This is some good clarification, and it seems like if you do use it, just make sure that you're only showing position, only showing what you've unlocked on the compass, and you're not giving yourself an added advantage, especially in combat. Otherwise, that does sound like it's punishable. I always love to know your thoughts. Thanks guys for being here. You are awesome. If you made it to the end of this video, sound off with hooty hoo in the comments. That way I know how far into the video you made it. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Hopefully y'all have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you in my next video. But until then, take care.
Friendly, fun, and optimistic community, baby. Coming from an MMO community filled with toxicity, this is an amazing breath of fresh air. Keep it up, baby. Oh, yeah. I just want to say I'm really glad you're feeling